Hola, hola, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a esta sesión especial que tenemos hoy, sábado 13 de junio. ¿Cómo estás, Freddy? Buenos días,
Oh,
bienvenido.
hola Carlita, pues súper contento de que hoy estemos aquí, hoy este sábado 13 de junio y como siempre les digo, rápidamente escriban en sus grupos de WhatsApp. La sesión de Zoom ya comenzó porque tenemos una invitada de lujo, pero adicionalmente con un tema espectacular que nos va a ayudar sobre todo a entender mucho más de nuestros dispositivos. Sean todos ustedes cordialmente bienvenidos, Carlita, y creo que va a ser los próximos minutos o la próxima hora va a ser de muchísimo enriquecimiento para absolutamente toda la comunidad Gili.
Exactamente, pues bueno, tenemos una sala súper llena. Qué bueno que tenemos esta convocatoria y no faltaba menos porque vamos a presentar a nuestra invitada especial del día de hoy. Bueno, como siempre, nuestros disclaimers sobre la parte del producto y sobre la parte de los ingresos para quien hace el negocio. Y bueno, como lo habíamos anunciado, esta sesión vamos a hablar de toda la parte detrás de la ciencia detrás de Mahili, pero enfocándonos en la importancia del nervio vago con nuestra invitada especial de esta mañana.
Carlita, pero no sin antes decirle que esta sesión va a ser hecha en inglés y tenemos listo ya nuestro canal de español para que usted pueda disfrutarlo en nuestro idioma. ¿Cómo debe hacerlo? Pues rápidamente debe irse al icono que está en su configuración de Zoom, el icono que parece un globo terráqueo, escoge español y desde allí ya va a poder disfrutar de toda esta charla con nuestra interpretación simultánea.
Así es. Y bueno, sin más preámbulo, tenemos hoy el honor y el privilegio de contar con la doctora Carolyn McMakin, que es la fundadora de la terapia FSM. Y bueno, ustedes saben que la doctora McMakin ha estado en diferentes sesiones con nosotros y que ella es la creadora de los programas McMakin y McMakin Plus para McHealy, al igual que otros científicos y expertos en diferentes temas. La doctora McMakin es miembro del board de asesores de Healy World y es fundadora de la terapia Frequency Specific Microcurrent, frecuencia específica con microcorriente, y es una de las especialistas en producto en Healy World. Dr. Carolyn, are you around? Are you here?
I'm
Are you
here,
ready?
but the video has to be enabled.
Yes, let us help you with that.
There we go. I got
There
it.
we go. There we go.
Yay. Um,
So
good.
welcome, and thank you for spending this Saturday morning with us here in all over Latin America. We have an audience of close to 300 members now. So people from Mexico, from the US, from Colombia, from Peru, and now we have new 7 markets in Latin America that opened recently last month in the month of May. So now you have a bigger audience and a bigger fandom of people that admire your work, that are, of course, members of our Healy community. So we appreciate your being here today and sharing your knowledge and your passion for whatever you do. Thank you so much, and the stage is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, there I am. Uh, it's exciting for me that Latin America is now open thanks to you because the resonance effect has just been translated into Spanish. So it should
I
be
know.
out shortly. That's exciting.
That's exciting news. Yes,
Okay. Shall we start the slides? It's okay?
it's okay. So
Oh, yeah.
there we go.
So this, the technique I developed is called frequency specific microcurrent. And there are two Heelys inside a mag Healy, allowing us to provide two frequencies at one time, and in frequency-specific microcurrent. Next slide. Ready? Next slide. Hello. There we go. Okay. So what we do with frequency-specific microcurrent is harmonize the bioenergetic field. As a biological organism, a person, you have an electrical field and it creates a magnetic field. So the magnet in the maghili can influence your body, but how do frequencies, specific frequencies, play into that? Frequency-specific microcurrent uses frequencies that were developed in the early 1900s and used by thousands of physicians till 1934. Medicine, the AMA and the FDA declared that they were fakes and that drugs and surgery were to be the only tools of medicine. And frequency therapies were outlawed in about 1925. They started putting people in jail for using these old devices. Every healthcare intervention except for prescription medication, surgery, and radiation was outlawed. Next. Physicians who used these therapies would lose their licenses. The research and the history were lost when the researchers died. So we don't know how they decided what frequencies went with what tissues and conditions. Practitioners were persecuted, some were put in jail. The devices went into the back room of the clinics or into the trash. And that's where my story starts. Harry Van Gelder was an osteopath. Next slide. Harry Van Gelder was an osteopath and naturopath from Australia and the UK, and he bought a practice in 1946, walked into the back room of that clinic and found a device that was made in 1922, covered up with a sheet, and that device came with a list of frequencies. George Douglas, next slide, George Douglas worked with Harry Van Gelder in 1983 and brought home a copy of the frequency list. The list looked like this, but it had words that described what the frequencies were for. So 40 hertz would reduce inflammation, 81 hertz would increase secretions, 10 hertz was for the spinal cord, etc. So we knew what the frequencies were supposed to be for. Next slide. In 1995, George Douglas gave me this old analog microcurrent machine, and we began using the frequencies from the list in 1995. I have no idea how they were derived. We're uncertain about the mechanism of action. We do know the 1920s equipment was not microcurrent, but it was direct current. And the 1920s therapy, as they used it, was not FSM. So the next slide. So yes, that. Frequencies, the way we use it is that the frequencies and the current from the two channels, one is for a condition, one is for a tissue. They intersect when the frequencies are applied at the same time. When the frequencies intersect, it creates in this space an interferential effect that includes the frequency from A, the frequency from B, and the sum of the two frequencies and the difference between the two frequencies. And what we found out over time, basically 5 years and 30,000 patient visits, was that both frequencies had to be correct to create balance and harmony. Next. The frequencies were first taught in 1997 to find out if the effects were safe and reproducible. I taught a class of about 25. 10 people bought that old blue box. And what we found out by June, so we taught it in January. I taught it in January. By June, we were getting reports back that the results were the same. So we found out that they were both teachable and reproducible. Then over the last 30 years, research in animals and humans, and mostly clinical results, have accumulated to the point where we can't deny that the frequencies are doing very specific things. We have 23 peer-reviewed papers. There's a medical textbook published by Elsevier, and the consumer book, The Resonance Effect, which has just been translated into Spanish and should be out in a little while. Right now, there are 7,000 FSM practitioners in 23 countries. And as a McKeely distributor, user, you have the ability to use the frequency-specific programs that I have created that will produce balance and harmony. So next slide. So this is about resonance. It's established since 1997. It's reproducible, teachable, reliable. It's non-invasive. Basically, it can't hurt you. It's low risk. It's comfortable. The most exciting thing that happens is if you're treating pain, pain goes away and you get a little floaty and relaxed. So what is resonance? It's not something you're used to, right? How do we know the frequencies work? Next slide. Resonance this isn't physics, the resonance is the tendency of a system or a bond to oscillate at large amplitudes in response to some frequencies and not others. At the resonant frequency, very small forces can produce very large amplitude vibrations. They found out in the 1700s that soldiers marching in step can create a vibration that will make a bridge collapse because it resonates with the bonds that hold the bridge together. Next slide. When a singer sings and breaks a lead crystal glass, that is possible because there's a precise frequency that holds the atoms together in a crystal matrix. The lead atoms bonds vibrate with the singer's note as long as it is precise and sustained enough that it can make the atoms, 70% lead atoms, vibrate that enough that the bonds come apart. The lead crystal comes apart because the resonance causes the lead atoms to vibrate, destabilizes the bonds that create the crystal, and that lead crystal glass shatters. Next. So how does next slide. So how does resonance affect the human body? So you have to realize that your body looks solid, but it is actually more space than it is stuff, because you are a quantum being in a Newtonian physics system. Every moving electron creates a magnetic field, and your body is full of moving electrons. So your body has a magnetic field. Every organ and its receptors are part of that magnetic field, and every chemical and electrical bond has a frequency at which it resonates. The cell membrane receptors have frequencies at which they resonate. Next. So the theory behind resonance interventions, like frequency-specific microcurrent and the McKeely, is that interference inhibits the proper function by creating a loss of harmony and resonance, proper resonance between cells, organs, and systems, and interfering with the appropriate function. Next. Every bond has a resonant frequency. Newtonian physics describes large objects, but it falls apart at the molecular level. And your body is a large object, but it is made by molecules, atoms, and subatomic particles held together by electromagnetic bonds. Next. And water lines the gel inside your cells. So we think of cells as full of water. Well, they're not. They're full of a gel matrix, and the water molecules bind to this gel matrix, and the oxygens do this, and the hydrogens flicker, and the molecules vibrate in such a way that they turn the cell into a semiconductor like silicon. So your body acts like a semiconductor. Next slide. So your bioenergetic field is an electromagnetic system that looks solid but functions as a semiconductor network, conducting current, charge, and information in the form of frequencies. So frequency-specific microcurrent uses frequencies to resonate with the interference between the proper function of the cells and restore harmony to your body. Next. So resonance is a term in physics, but there is a field of physics called biologic resonance that explains the effects on living tissue. Next. So how does this work in the body? Well, biologic resonance explains the effects on living tissue. So this is what a cell looks like. There's a little receptor on the outside that is influenced by epigenetic factors or things that float by in your blood. And so this is pathogen-associated molecular patterns and damage-associated molecular patterns. So pathogens, immune molecules, tissue fragments pass by and interact or stimulate these cell membrane receptors. Now, when you use a drug or a nutrient to change how this cell operates, so when the pathogen or damage-associated molecular patterns float by, they change the kinases and the transcription factors inside the cell. That changes the genetic expression, and that creates how the cell responds. In this case, it would be an inflammatory response and create inflammation, pain, or dysfunction. The way we use medication or even supplements to change cell function is they interact like a key and a lock, mechanically, chemically, to change membrane receptors and change intracellular function. Medication and nutrients change cell receptors and cell function like a chemical key in this lock. So ibuprofen will change the cell response and reduce inflammation. Next. The frequencies appear to act like a key fob, your key remote, opening this lock with an electromagnetic signal instead of a key. The frequencies appear to influence cell function electromagnetically with a frequency-specific signal. They appear to change cell receptors and cell function, like your key remote opens your car door lock. It's this exact same principle. Your key fob opens only your car door, even if there are 12 cars that are identical in the parking lot. Next. Tuning forks tuned to the same frequency will vibrate in resonance with each other from across the room when one tuning fork is struck, and they vibrate together, creating harmony. If something interferes with the resonance, it creates imbalance and a lack of harmony. Next. If you remove the interference, take this little board or piece of paper out of the way, and you remove the interference, the function normalizes and the tuning forks vibrate. That's just physics. This is how physics works and resonance. So how do we know that, well, remove the interference. Next. How do we know that frequencies affect imbalances? Well, I've been doing this for 30 years. So 30 years and 300,000 patient experiences. That's how I know. Experience. And then we have research, good medical research, and we have thousands of practitioners creating reproducible results. So that's how we know that the frequencies work. It's once you see it, you can't unsee it. Next. So people have asked me what my favorite Mike Healy protocol is, and that is brain balance and the vagus, because the vagus is so important to health, well-being, brain function, harmony, balance in the digestive system, the immune system, the brain, blood sugar. It affects everything. The vagus is the most important nerve in the body, as far as I'm concerned. It works to harmonize everything. So, what does the vagus do that I like so much? Are we on that slide? Next. Next. So, the vagus responds to your life. It slows down the heart. It reduces the inflammation response. It reduces inflammation. It quiets the immune response. And it improves digestion when stress is down and life is good. So it helps you digest your food. It quiets your heart. It reduces inflammation when life is good and stress is down. On the other hand, next, the vagus is actually not turned off. It is turned down when there is stress, threat, trauma, and infection, so that inflammation, immune response, heart rate can go up. Digestion, if you have 20 minutes to live, why would you need to digest your food? Why would you need stomach acid to digest your food? Why would you need enzymes to digest your food? You've got 20 minutes to live, because the immune system, the nervous system interprets everything as a tiger that's chasing you through the woods, and your gut motility goes down. And in general, this situation should pass. But what happens is sometimes the system does not resolve, especially if there's been early childhood trauma, and the patients will stay ill longer or unbalanced longer than they should. Next. In the brain, the vagus activates all of the good things. It increases nitric oxide and blood flow to the brain, blood in, blood out. So it helps clean the brain. It increases brain-derived nerve growth factor, and that means that you can make new connections between cells, and it improves communication in the brain. It increases transcription. It increases serotonin. That's the neurotransmitter that lets you feel relaxed. It reduces glutamate, which is inflammatory in the brain. It improves the ability of nerves to communicate. So this word is neurogenesis, and it means you can make new nerves. You can't make new cells, but you can make new connections. It increases norepinephrine, which allows you to remember things and think clearly and quickly. It reduces inflammation, chemokines, cell adhesion molecules. So I use the Vegas protocol every night to keep my brain young. I'm going to be 80 in September, so I need my brain young. So Kevin Tracy, next. Kevin Tracy published groundbreaking research that showed the relationship between the vagus and inflammation. The vagus is one of a number of neuroimmune reflexes that keep inflammation regulated, suppressed, controlled. So it's the nervous system and the immune system that keeps inflammation down. The next slide is part of research that we've had done in a controlled trial on the vagus. There we go, that one. Next slide. So if you're measuring vagal tone, which is the rest, digest your food, rest, reduce your heart rate, lower your blood sugar, make your brain work better. That's called parasympathetic tone. And when they did this research, all the subjects had a 50% increase in parasympathetic tone. And there was a group of strong responders. So 60% of the subjects had 100% increase in parasympathetic tone in this rest and digest response. So there are some people that responded stronger than others in this trial. And the next slide is even better. The next one. Next. Whoops, no, go back. Go back. Freddie, go back. There we go. 60%. Okay, there's a slide missing then. I have a slide that shows that in all subjects, there was a 2 times increase in parasympathetic tone. In the strong responders, that's 60% of the subjects, there was a 3 times increase in parasympathetic tone. So that was amazing. Next. That's the slide. Yeah, there is a 2 times increase in parasympathetic tone, and in 60% of the subjects, there was a 3 times increase. Parasympathetic tone is what makes you feel good. It makes your heart work better, reduces inflammation in your body, prevents autoimmune diseases, or creates balance in the immune system. This is blinded research from the Feinstein Institute, where they study the vagus. That is the only thing they study. Now you can go to the next one with the brain. So the effects on brain function, multiple conditions have demonstrated abnormal brain rhythm frequencies. FSM in this study showed a positive impact on these areas, especially this one. The temporal focus was changed by 60%, showing an increased balance in the brain. And that goes along with what I showed you with the other slide, where inflammation in the brain is reduced and communication between cells in the brain is improved, circulation is improved. That means that it makes the brain more balanced and creates harmony in the brain. So that's why the vagus is my favorite. Once you see the vagus, you can't ever unsee it. It helps you swallow. It helps, it creates the tears that let you blink and keeps your eyes moist. It makes saliva. It operates every muscle in your vocal cords except the ones that let you scream. So the vagus is important for vocal cord function. Next. Space clearing is no data, just my experience. Sometimes there are times when there are things that go wrong that shouldn't go wrong, things that just feel not right. That's what space clearing is about. It's like there's clutter in your energetic field somehow. Something isn't working right. And when you use space clearing, it loosens that up and makes things easier and simpler, takes away negative influences that create disharmony in your field. Next. Night harmony, female, has no data, but it has my experience. It balances the nervous system is the best way to describe it. It's slightly different in females than males, but when I've had a stressful day or there's just disharmony, it seems to make everything easier and makes me feel better. We have data that says it increases serotonin, so that's nice. Next. So I love data about frequency effects, and that's what comes next. Healy and Timewaver have done a study on the effect of the Mag Healy in night harmony. And this is statistics, so it is a little complicated, but they found that patients that ran the Mag Healy Night Harmony protocol, and these are very large numbers of patients, they had a statistically significant decrease in concerns, an increase in well-being, and it was a large effect, and depending on the group, an increase in well-being was a very large effect compared to placebo. So this gray one is a placebo. That is a device that looked the same, but it didn't actually work. It was a randomized, double-blinded, two-arm pilot study. And that is the gold standard in medicine. So you have data that lets you tell people that the Mag Healy Night Harmony protocol has the ability to create an increase in well-being as shown in double-blind trial. It's improving harmony. Satisfaction with sleep was another one. Very large effect. And an active in the active group, and satisfaction with sleep, satisfaction with recovery, and falling asleep was about the same. So it's not that it helps you fall asleep, but it makes you feel better when you wake up. That's okay. General tiredness, no change between the two groups. Daytime tiredness was less in the night harmony group. Sleep efficiency was better in the night harmony group. And these are statistically significant differences between the two groups. Sleeping pills didn't change that much, and I don't know what that means. And post differences higher in the Mag-Healy group than in the control group. Statistically significant group differences could be found for increase in well-being, recovery, and reduction in daytime tiredness. For these parameters, also the highest effects were detected in the active groups, very large or large effects. It's wonderful to have such data on the Mag-Healy because now you're not talking about something that's just a gadget. You have something that creates demonstrable or statistically significant real effects in physical harmony and well-being. So I love data about frequency effects. Here's another study, weight harmony. They had the McMakin programs on the Mag-Healy were tested for 21 days. The control group, they used the Healy device, just the Healy, as usual. And it was 3 weeks. And they found that the active group decrease in concerns didn't have any change over between the Mag-Healy and the Healy, but increase in well-being with weight harmony, that increased significantly with the Mag-Healy over the Healy. And that's important. Data is a big help. Satisfaction with body weight went up. Satisfaction with physical fitness. Satisfaction with choices in food. You tend to, when you use the weight harmony protocol, you tend to crave less sweets. Your appetite gets reduced in general. It makes it easier to control your weight. And so their satisfaction with their choices in food were statistically significant. And that's exactly what the weight harmony protocol does. Next, I hope we're on the same slide. Oh, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. There we go. One more. Oops. Yep, hang on. So the conclusions, let's see. There we go. So the conclusions were that in both study groups, all parameters measured showed a significant improvements in the course of the study. Statistically significant group differences could be found for well-being, all parameters directly related to eating habits, nutrition behavior, intuitive eating scale, and decrease in sweet snacking. These improved significantly. Thanks. Where's, I don't know.
We're looking at statistical analysis, Carol.
I know, but something happened to my
Okay.
slides. Hang on 1 second. Let me see if I can get my slides back. There we go. Now we got it. There. Okay. There is a statistical analysis. That doesn't mean much to me either. This just means that for those of you that know statistics, it means this is a statistically significant difference. Let's go on to the balance and harmony slide. Keep going. There we go. So the resonance theory and data suggest that if interference is removed, it restores balance and harmony between cells and systems in the body, helping to harmonize the bioenergetic field. It's biophysics, it's biological physics applied to people. Weight harmony. Oh, we already did weight harmony. There we go. Okay. So, frequency-specific resonance is not magic. The statistical significance is important because it gives you data. But it's applied biophysics. So we ask people to be prudent and respectful. If the imbalances do not improve, seek proper medical evaluation and treatment when using frequencies to enhance harmony. I can't make any claims, even though we have statistics. You can't make any claims about the physical effects of the frequencies. We can only say that the frequency combination harmonizes the bioenergetic field. So there's the obsidian and the mag-healy. So, yep, there we go. The mag-healy contains FSM protocols that are safe and effective for most people under most circumstances. It's not a medical device. It's a wellness device to harmonize the bioenergetic field. And when you say that to most people, they don't know what it is. So you have to find a different way to say it. It's just easier to say that it makes you feel more harmonious and more balanced. It won't be 100% effective for everyone who uses it, and it shouldn't be used instead of medical intervention. The duration, frequencies, intensity, frequency, the naming, what we call things, and the description are based on practical experience, experts in our understanding of the interaction of frequency modulated magnetic fields and with the bioenergetic field, and they haven't been confirmed by independent studies. So let's talk a little bit about how this all works. Are you made of physical matter or are you made of energy? Think about it. Are you energy that coalesces into physical existence? Are you just physical matter? For centuries, philosophers and physicists have had this description. There's no conclusion or certainty because there's no way to prove that one perspective is correct. There's no way to confirm that with an independent study. So when you use the mag-healy or any intervention in order to create lasting effects, you have to create a stable state of health. So water is completely stable as long as the surrounding environment is 0 degrees centigrade. Then it's completely stable as ice. Then it's completely stable as liquid as long as it's between 1 and 99 degrees centigrade. And then it's completely stable as steam as long as the surrounding environment. So the correct frequencies create change and balance, create the harmony of the field, and the harmony and balance can be permanent when the patient's metabolism, attitude, and body mechanics support the change in state. So This is the resonance effect, which I hope will be out in Spanish very soon. I knew never to submit a book to a publisher unless they ask you for it. And in medicine, you never publish a consumer book before a textbook. So I already had a textbook. And I got a phone call one afternoon in 2015. And the man said, I've had Crohn's disease for 17 years, and one of your practitioners just put me into remission in 6 sessions in 2 weeks, and I want to know why. I've never heard of you. Why don't you have a book? I said, no one ever asked me. And he said, well, I'm an editor at North Atlantic Books, and I want you to write a book about frequency-specific microcurrent. And it turned out that at least James Oshman thinks it's a can't put it down page turner of a book. It's fascinating, funny, inspired, exciting, and altogether delightful. It is available in English, German, French, Polish, Mandarin, and audiobook. It is now released in Spanish. It is released in Turkish. It's coming in Japanese, and someone is working on a common Mandarin translation. Next. So you can't change medicine ever, because it's a huge system, but you can change one person's life. You can harmonize and balance one person at a time. You talk to someone about what the Mag Healy does, or the Mag Healy Obsidian, and that person feels better. And when that happens, you have the ability to change the world by changing just one life. According to biophysics, changing even one person's life changes the world. And the question I have always wondered is, if you're not here to change the world, what are you here for? So thank you for letting me talk about the vagus. The vagus is so important. If the vagus harmony and what do we call the concussion protocol? If that's the only thing you ever do, then you have changed someone's life. Thank you so much. How do we do?
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Dr. McMakin. I think everybody, you can see on screen virtual cheers and applauses and everything, because every time we hear about you and all your knowledge, it's like knowing more about what we do. But these last words, where if you're not here to work for somebody to save a life, I think that's the power of this community, and that's what really resonates with what we do and why we're part of this fantastic Healy community. So thank you again for sharing this. We can not only feel your expertise in the field, because we know that you're one of the top experts worldwide, but how you care about what you do and what you share, and that's what makes it really resonate with all, and makes that purpose expand. So thank you very much. We'll continue here, just giving more detailed information about Mike Healy. So you're welcome to stay. Thank you for being part of our community, and for always being available to share, and because sharing is knowledge. So thank you very much, Dr. McMakin. Y bueno, vamos a continuar. Entonces, vamos ya a el resto de la sesión. Lo vamos a tener en español, y vamos a continuar. ¿Me ayudas, Freddy, con la siguiente diapositiva, volviendo a la presentación? Porque si ustedes se fijan, estuvo hablando la doctora y por aquí muchas de ustedes preguntaban de ciertos programas y justo vamos a platicar un poquito de Magili Obsidian. Magili Obsidian es uno de nuestros productos más recientes. Lo lanzamos en septiembre del año pasado, entonces justo entiendo que hay mucha gente nueva en la comunidad y vamos a platicarles un poquito más a detalle de qué hace especial a este Magili Obsidian. Magili Obsidian tiene los mismos módulos y aplicaciones que tienen nuestro Magili. Dependiendo de la edición, se tiene disponibilidad de los programas clásicos, de los programas ambientales, de los programas de activación del agua. Hay un grupo de programas de McMakin y ahora en este Magili Obsidian se incluye otro grupo de programas que hemos llamado McMakin Plus, que es varios de los programas que estuvo comentando la doctora McMakin hacia el final, además del módulo de meridianos que por aquí vi en el chat, que también ustedes estaban comentando al respecto. ¿Qué es lo que tiene el Magili Obsidian? Son 5 aplicaciones en este dispositivo, tiene 98 programas, tiene un módulo de Gili Advisor Analyze para meridianos y como para todos los miembros del Club VIP Obsidiana, las actualizaciones que se vayan generando a lo largo de los años van a ser a nivel mundial. Y así, y también obviamente el Club VIP Obsidiana. ¿Me confirman, Elvita o Freddy, que sí me estén escuchando, por favor?
Te escuchamos perfectamente.
Perfecto, gracias. Aquí ven en pantalla cómo se ve estos programas de McMakin Plus y vamos a hablar un poquito más a detalle de cada uno de ellos. Como les decía, son 12 programas de doble frecuencia, que la doble frecuencia es lo que justo con lo que arrancó la plática de la doctora McMakin, son desarrollados por ellos. Y en esta ocasión tenemos 2 programas, justo los de armonía nocturna, que hay uno especial para mujeres y uno especial para hombres, y que todo esto nos retribuye en bienestar y en equilibrio diario. ¿Cuáles son los programas que tiene este grupo de programas nuevos de McMakin Plus? Tiene flexibilidad en el cuerpo, justo que ayuda a la armonización del sistema musculoesquelético, que contribuye al tema de movilidad. Tiene bienestar en la piel, que es creado para para contribuir contra los diferentes estresores del ambiente o que nos pueden generar temas en la piel. Tiene el de armonía nocturna de la mujer, que fue justo uno de los que entró en detalle la doctora McMakin, donde hablaba de diferentes, justo de la parte estadística de los beneficios de este programa, para el cual hay una versión también para los caballeros, que es el de armonía nocturna para el hombre. Tiene movilidad de las articulaciones, tiene este programa de armonía en el peso que tiene mucho que ver con temas como obviamente todo lo que estresa a nuestro organismo, pero en particular tiene efectos sobre esta parte que hoy es parte del vocabulario, ¿no? La parte de resistencia a la insulina y cómo todos estos estresores nos están provocando quedarnos estancadas en el mismo peso. Entonces, esta era de la que estaba hablando a ella. También al principio habló de esta parte de limpieza de espacios. Tenemos armonía en los discos intervertebrales, el de respiración profunda, que se recomienda siempre que estemos haciendo justo ejercicios de breathing, ejercicios de breathwork, pero también cuando estemos meditando o buscando tener esa parte de armonía con nosotros mismos para hacerlo. Claridad que nos ayuda a quitar toda esa neblina que de repente tenemos cuando estamos muy abrumados, y este programa nos ayuda a tener claridad. Es muy útil cuando vamos a estar teniendo alguna junta importante, cuando estamos estudiando un tema nuevo. Y creo que, bueno, hay un segundo programa de armonía solar para la piel después de que hayamos estado en exposición con el sol. Y finalmente el programa de postestrés, que es para restaurar nuestro equilibrio, nuestra paz, después de un momento estresante o traumático. Y bueno, es lo que les decía, son estos programas de doble frecuencia, están diseñados para mejorar nuestro bienestar en diferentes ámbitos y bueno, cada uno tiene unas duraciones específicas. Y bueno, don Freddy, te dejo el micrófono, te dejo a ti la pantalla, porque ¿qué tenemos el día de hoy?
Claro que sí, Carlita. Y bueno, ya que hemos estado hablando en la mañana de hoy de todo esto que la doctora McMakin ha desarrollado, queremos recordarles, a mí me encanta siempre darles ese recorderis de lo que tenemos en junio, donde podemos tener con nosotros ese extraordinario Maquili y vamos a arrancar con México. A todas las personas que están registradas en México y están conectadas el día de hoy, recordarles que nuestro Maquili Obsidian lo pueden comprar en nuestra tienda o en la tienda de México por solo 88.599 pesos. Y recordarles que también tenemos 18 meses sin intereses. Y cuando ustedes compran ese Maquili Obsidian, ustedes forman parte de ese club VIP Obsidian que Carla ya había mencionado. Pero para esas personas que ya tienen un Healy Obsidian y son parte ya del club VIP Obsidian, para ellos el poder adquirir un McKinley Obsidian viene con un precio especial. Y vean en pantalla el precio especial de 71.863 pesos mexicanos para esas personas que ya tienen un Healy, pero aún no tienen un Healy Obsidian, pero aún no tienen el McKinley Obsidian. Y hoy vimos la necesidad de poder tener ese ecosistema completo para poder gozar de los programas McMakin Plus y el módulo de meridianos que incluye esta edición súper especial. Y decirles que en México, para las 5 primeras personas que compren el Maquili Obsidian, van a recibir totalmente de regalo ese extraordinario y exclusivísimo estuche de terciopelo que va a permitir poder llevar su Maquili Obsidian, poder llevar su Healy Obsidian y poderlo tener. Así que veamos el siguiente video para aquellos que no conocen este exclusivísimo estuche para ver de qué se trata. Y lo pueden llevar donde quiera que vayan, todo su ecosistema de Healy, Coil, McHealy con sus cargadores, así extraordinaria oportunidad. Recuérdense en México los 5 primeros que los compren. Y recordarles también que tenemos una promoción en México con nuestro McHealy Pro, que básicamente está al 50% utilizando el cupón MHPRO30. Es decir, usted se mete al shop, lo añade al carrito y cuando esté en el carrito aplica el cupón MHPRO y obtiene un 50% de descuento. En el McHealy Pro está el módulo McMakin, que tiene el nervio vago y tiene armonía en el cerebro, que la doctora McMakin dijo que eran 2 de sus programas favoritos, así que si usted no lo tiene es la oportunidad de poderlo tener. Y recordarles que en México tenemos 18 meses sin intereses del 1 al 30 de junio por compras mínimas a partir de 32.500 pesos mexicanos, así que no se lo pueden perder. Y para Colombia, recordarles que, bueno, no recordarles porque no sé si todos tienen, solo por 3 días. Esta promoción empezó ayer, es decir, ayer, hoy, mañana y hasta el lunes tenemos nuestro Healy Wolf con el Kili Coin totalmente gratis, pero hay un cupón súper especial, un cupón de 565.000 pesos de descuento. Call y Wolf, así que si usted va a la tienda, mete el Healy Wolf y pone este cupón, va a tener hasta 40% de descuento en el Healy Wolf. Recuérdense que está vigente hasta el día lunes. O sea, nos quedan 3 días de esta promoción, pero también tenemos 3 días de la promoción del Maquili Golf. Y el Maquili Golf va a tener una promoción espectacular de que cuando usted lo compra va a poder adquirir el módulo de meridianos por 60% de descuento. Ahí ven en pantalla el precio. Recordarles que cuando compran el Maquili Golf usted puede seleccionar el módulo McMakin para que sea parte del grupo de programas de su Maquili. Es decir, hoy con todo lo que aprendimos con la doctora McMakin, usted va a poder tener ese Maquili con esos programas de Nervio Vago, armonía en el cerebro, espectaculares para poder buscar esa armonía y bienestar. También para Colombia recordarles que tenemos el combo papá y con el combo papá usted también puede adquirir el Maquili Discover a un precio súper especial. Y en Colombia también por supuesto está el Maquili Obsidian, ahí vemos el precio en pantalla en 19.999.900 y para aquellas personas que ya tienen un Gili Obsidian, el precio del Maquili Obsidian es súper especial en 16.199.019. Y en Colombia, todas las personas que pongan pedido desde hoy hasta el lunes 15 de junio, todos los pedidos de Maquili Obsidian van a llevar gratis el estuche de terciopelo que acabamos de ver. Es decir, 3 días nada más de promoción. Y para la TAM, recordarles que tenemos nuestro Maquili Pro con 40% de descuento utilizando el cupón MH Pro. Incluye gratis el módulo de meridiano. El precio que usted va a pagar por todo es de $2.182. Recordarles que también tenemos el combo papá y con el combo papá usted puede comprar también el Maquili Discover a un precio súper especial y el precio también recordarles para toda la TAM, el precio del Maquili Obsidian es de $4.813, pero si usted ya tiene un Gili Obsidian, usted puede comprar el Maquili Obsidian a un precio especial de $3.899,49. Así que ya vemos y también para la TAM todos los pedidos desde hoy hasta el lunes 15 de Maquili Obsidian van a recibir gratis ese exclusivísimo estuche de terciopelo para Gili y Maquili. Y bueno, rapidísimo porque quiero compartirles que para todos ustedes que están haciendo el negocio también pueden ganar este mes el Maquili. ¿Y de qué se trata? Usted con traer 3 nuevos miembros o clientes con un Healy Wolf superior o con un McHealy Wolf o superior, alguno de los combos, usted puede ganar un Healy Discover. Pero voy a irme a la opción 2 que es la que más me encanta, porque si usted trae 4 nuevos miembros en cualquiera de los países de Latinoamérica con un Gili Wolf superior o con un McGilly Wolf superior o cualquiera de los combos vigentes, usted gana ese McGilly Wolf. Y como se los recordé, ese McGilly Wolf, usted puede seleccionar si quiere el módulo el grupo de programas de ambientales, el grupo de programas de agua o el módulo de McMakin, que estoy segurísimo que usted lo va a seleccionar. Y bueno, Carlita, recordarles a todo el mundo que no dejen de seguirnos en nuestros canales, a toda la comunidad de México. Ahí está el canal de WhatsApp de Comunidad Gili México. Escaneen el código QR y ahí van a encontrar toda la información, promociones, eventos. Y para el caso de Latinoamérica, aquí tenemos el código QR donde toda la comunidad de Latinoamérica, de los países que acabamos de abrir y Colombia, tenemos toda la información de promociones y eventos allí. Y bueno, Carlita, hemos llegado al final de esta transmisión. Yo feliz de haberlo compartido. Creo que la gente está súper contenta por todos esos conocimientos que la doctora McMakin hoy nos ha dejado acá. Tener el orgullo de que pertenece al board de consejeros de Gili para ese desarrollo cada vez de cosas adicionales. Y definitivamente creo que hoy aprendimos la importancia de poder tener un McKinley con todos los módulos, el módulo McMakin, el módulo McMakin Plus, el módulo de Meridiano, porque nos va a ayudar a tener todo ese ecosistema, pero mucho mejor a poder vibrar nuestro cuerpo para obtener la energía y el bienestar. Así que de mi lado, a todos ustedes me despido. Darles las gracias también a la doctora Carolyn McMakin por su tiempo, que sé que lo hizo con todo el amor y el cariño y siempre es un gusto escucharla.
Así es, Freddy, estamos terminando. Qué gusto que se hayan conectado tantas personas. Creo que hoy rompimos un récord en el número de asistentes, casi 400, no, 400, ¿cuánto fue? 420 o 30 en alguno de los momentos.
440 fue nuestra máxima audiencia.
Así es que qué bueno que estuvieron por aquí. Escuchar siempre es la doctora siempre nos recuerda cuál es la base científica de todo esto, que es física finalmente, pero siempre aprendemos porque siempre hay algo que podemos agregar a nuestro conocimiento y que obviamente compartir esto con todas las personas. No hay mejor momento para poder tener un Magili o un Magili Obsidian. Así es que muchas gracias a ustedes por haber estado en esta sesión especial y nos vemos muy prontito. Que pasen muy buen fin de semana. Gracias,
Chao a
Freddy.
todos. Feliz fin de semana.